3.8 out of 5.
Whoa, no!
That just doesn't work for us.
Sound, speeding, camera, rolling. Scene 74, take 303, mark.
No half stars on take 303. No half stars on take 303. No half stars on take 303.
Welcome to Take 303, powered by Fort Wayne Media, the podcast with the guy who knows a lot about film.
And his friend,
I'm Nick Molinari.
JP Brooks. We're talking everything film and television, and today we are talking about A Quiet Place, Day 1.
But first, in cinematic news,
Cinematic news.
there's a Donkey spin-off from the Shrek series.
That is the only donkey I would know. Donkey!
But are we excited about it?
No.
I haven't kept up with the Shrek series.
Doesn't need to be made.
Speaking of sequels you probably don't care about, Lethal Weapon 5 is in the work.
Okay, moving on.
Donald Sutherland died.
Sad to hear that.
R.I.P. Emma Roberts has some complaints.
It looked like you're making it up. You're like, hold on, let me think of something. Emma Roberts has complaints.
About how we treat Nepo babies.
Okay.
She's Julia Roberts' niece.
Oh, they kind of look alike, too. That makes sense.
So she's complaining how we complain about Nepo babies and don't validate them enough. And
Sounds like a Nepo baby thing to say.
But with a
Yeah.
caveat, she says we attack women more as Nepo babies instead of men. And she gave a prime example that she thinks explains this.
All right, let me hear the example.
George Clooney being a Nepo baby.
George Clooney's a Nepo baby?
He's not.
Oh, I thought he's just the GOAT. Yeah, I mean, he's the only Clooney I've ever heard of.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, if they're artistic, maybe they got him his first foot in the door, but there are plenty of people who have famous names even attached to themselves who still don't make it. I get where she's coming from, but at the same time, George Clooney's not a good pick.
Speaking of a lot of great choices that could have been made, we will talk about A Quiet Place Day 1 after the break.
Everybody has a vision. Everybody has a dream. Something that needs to be captured on the big screen. We at Fort Wayne Media love taking your passion projects and bringing them to life on the big screen. Whether you're a small business, a passionate artist, or a small business owner, with expert videography and photography, we're going to take what you love to do, what you love to make, and transform it into a cinematic experience. Fort Wayne Media.
Today we are talking about Michael Sarnoski's A Quiet Place Day 1, starring Lupita Nyong'o and Joseph Quinn.
A Quiet Place Day 1 follows Frodo, a cat whose owner takes him on a field trip to go see a puppet show. However, as Frodo is enjoying life, unfortunately, his day gets ruined when the Earth is attacked by aliens. Frodo must try to keep track of his owner while he scrambles throughout New York City and even encounter some alien life forms. Will Frodo ever make it off this damn island? Only one way to find out, as some dude shows up out of the subway underwater. That's what A Quiet Place Day 1 is all about. I think a lot of people are looking forward to this movie, and I think this is going to be a big hit or miss for people. I think some people are going to love this movie. I think a lot of people are not going to like this movie.
I am a big fan of A Quiet Place.
As a series.
As a series. When the first one came out, I thought it was amazing.
A mise en scène.
Yeah, the mise en scène was used, and it was so full. It was so full. If I had to make like a top 10 horror for this generation, definitely it's in the top. Could be top 5, could be top 3.
It's had such a big cultural impact, Quiet Place. So I would agree with you with that, just from a cultural standpoint.
That's, I think, the big difference between this and Day 1 is that you are so immediately hooked into the first movie. There's a lot of stakes. There's a lot of rules. In this one, they take away those stakes. They take away those rules. They break a lot of them immediately. We just saw Godzilla -1 last week. And I told you, this is the perfect movie to watch immediately after because it is the least perfect movie. Where Godzilla -1 was about the people. And this tried to be, but really only focused on one and threw away every other character, where A Quiet Place, the original, and Quiet Place 2, They really focused on every single character they brought in front of you. They didn't toss them around.
In John Krasinski's mind, if you've ever heard the interviews, A Quiet Place is actually a family drama. It just happens to take place in an apocalyptic setting. You could argue that A Quiet Place Day One is really about a woman's struggle coping with the end of her life, that her life is coming to an end, and she meets someone who along the way who helps her come to peace with her life and where she's at.
I completely understood the symbolism at the beginning. For someone to be in hospice, you know that the end is coming very soon. You just don't know when. So to have that parallel with an alien invasion and how she didn't really care at the beginning, but now for some reason someone who knows she's going to die anyways is still fighting for her life. There's a lot to be said there. The only problem is that's really the only character that gets that treatment, whereas all the other characters kind of fall out to the background.
Yeah, this is definitely one of those movies that's trying to be artsy, is trying to pull at the heartstrings that, no, really is just a human story. It's not naturally flowing enough for me. They're not hiding it well enough, and I think that's sometimes like the beauty of these kind of movies, that it's subtle. If you give really good the humanity side to it, you need the monster side to be just as good, and unfortunately the monster side isn't.
Quiet Place 1 really hid the monsters, the aliens, from us for a good amount of time.
Yeah, I'm okay. See, I was thinking about this too. I'm okay. I'm actually glad we saw more of the monsters. I needed more to be revealed about them. I needed something new or fresh. What is something that we as an audience who's watched the first two movies, which we've seen in the future, could realize something that maybe our present day characters don't realize yet? There was only one moment, and it's completely overshadowed by a guy trying to get a cat off a freaking beam.
It's hard to do a very good prequel because when you know where it's going, it's also hard to surprise people.
Yeah, there wasn't enough surprise.
The characters didn't even really learn it. It was just immediately forced on them that sound is the thing. I would love scenes where they figure that out.
Survival of the fittest, it kind of just... Yeah, there's not a lot of payoff in this movie. I think that's the big... It feels like very little setup, and any setup that actually is there doesn't really pay off. Really wanted the girl to scream at the end.
They also... Well, let's not jump around.
Yeah.
Like A Quiet Place Day One, they do blackouts a lot. And at very critical moments where I kind of really wanted to see what was going to happen. And I think that's exactly what you're saying, is that anytime they're really about to hit their stride, they cut away. It is a speedy runtime situation, but at the same time, the first one, they're all very short movies. They're all under 2 hours. They're close to the 90-minute mark. You just have to dial it down. And I think the problem here with this prequel is that there's so many characters in such a large space that it's hard to really funnel all of that.
And if you're going to run around through the city and do all this stuff, I kind of want some context. And maybe it's a little cliche and overdone. If she has like her own subway map, they'd take one, point out where they are. They don't even have to talk, just like draw it on the map here, need to get here. At least, clue us in as well. I mean, we're from the city. I was able to figure out, like, they went to 59th and Lex. That's where I go to work right now. It's one of my stops that I have to go to. Maybe a flashback would have been good here of seeing her with her dad once or twice.
They really play up this backstory as a reason to care about this character. I don't think we needed that because we kind of already sympathize with her enough in her situation and being in hospice.
Yeah.
And realistically, I hate when this happens in movies, but I know a lot of people love it when their pet goes missing or something, and they always go after the pet, and it's like, there's aliens, and then, there's a group of people that are still like, but that's my pet, that's an extension of me, that's family. They go, that's Vin Diesel, that's family.
Krista would agree with it, like, you go for you save the pet every time. I'd be like, buy nibbles later.
So I could have easily bought if this cat ran off and she was going after the cat and she needed the cat to feel close to someone, but then she realized that she could be close to another human being.
Yeah, if her dad got her the cat.
On paper, the whole plot is about her getting the pizza. That even in an alien invasion, she's like that kid from Leave the World Behind that just wants to see that last episode of Friends. She wants that slice of pizza, and she's gonna get that slice of pizza, and that's her arc. That she needs to get that to feel closer to her father. It is the stupidest thing.
But the pizza is her acceptance of her situation. And now that she's accepted her situation, she can let go of the memories of her father. And when she takes off the sweater, that's her shedding what's holding her back, her depression. And then by giving away the cat, she no longer needs the cat to feel better because she's accepted it.
And that's if A Quiet Place was a novel and your high school English teacher was trying to tell you that there's more going on here than just alliteration.
Now let's talk about it for 3 months and do a research paper about it.
Cite those citations. They were so heavy-handed with a lot of the metaphors. Clearly, our audience missed the message because they were making way too many sounds.
Yo, my guy, you don't bring... I made a very specific point. I've got this. I've got Sour Patch, that rapper, when it's quiet, makes a lot of noise. We're at a quiet place. We even had our main actors come on and tell us, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, like I was watching you in the corner of my eye. You had the Sour Patch Kids. You were like scarfing them, but then as soon as the aliens came down, you were like, you put them down. Like,
respect
as
the
you
aliens.
should, as you should. And then, you took gentle popcorns.
2-finger approach, just mini claw.
Yeah.
Very careful. And then the guy behind me is like doing a fucking rustle with it.
That was more interesting than the movie, because the movie takes a very quick tonal shift right before the climax. A lot of things don't really work. A lot of sounds would have been louder. Like, this guy's running around in dress shoes the whole movie. I don't know if you caught that.
Yep, and they just don't.
Yeah, in the first movie, they made a thing. You take your shoes off.
Too much movement. I did like the use of water, though.
Like, the thunder worked really well. I liked the fountain.
Fountain was cool.
Because it kind of mirrored the waterfall from the first one. I didn't like when they were in the sewers and it was so loud and then he's like splashing around and for some reason the alien can hear him. Like, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah. I think some people are like, oh, it's a movie, but for a movie series that was so big on the details, like every detail matters every time something makes a sound, that when you see a prequel, everything should be more intense. The stakes should be even bigger. This is day one. Nobody's prepared.
I needed a one-take kind of sequence when the aliens first arrive. That's what I needed.
Oh, a long running through the streets?
Yeah. First one was very big on every single item in like the store that the kids went to made a sound. This one I think catered more towards jump scares than it did actual like suspense.
So this goes to say, obviously we were a little disappointed. I didn't like the editing. I felt like we jumped around way too much. I'm even more particular of how the fuck you getting uptown. What are you doing? How you getting to Harlem from here? You're fucked. That's all I kept thinking. Our main actress and our main actor are both doing, I think, a very good job. Especially our main character. She does an excellent job. So I'm not knocking the actors here at all.
Lupita Nyong'o really stands out. And I said it in the car. She's really good in a very bad movie.
It's funny, A Quiet Place, which is known for not having a lot of lines, a script can still be bad. It's not about dialogue.
One scene really should go to the next. I'm not saying like A, B, C, like show her like in the theater and then going to the street and then going to the adjacent street. That's not about that. It's like there were too many jumps. It really just shows like you don't have an idea of where you want to go with it.
To when he gets back to the church, where like that all felt just so random and out of place.
It reminded me of The Last of Us.
Yeah.
But not the critically acclaimed show that's really good. It reminded me of the game, and it felt like I was watching just one sequence of the game just cut into
those compilations online, like all the Last of Us cutscenes.
Yeah.
And we missed the video game parts. I would agree with you. That's a really good pull. I really like that comparison. That's good.
Favorite scene?
I don't. No, I'm good. I pass.
I will say the only striking scene that stuck out to me, at least visually, was the descent into the train station.
Yeah. The subway chase is pretty good. I like when they're running in the streets from the building, even though it breaks all the rules. As much as they don't hide the monsters, that's actually the part I like the most about this movie.
I wasn't a big fan of the CG, though.
Yeah. I mean, it's better than Argyle, so...
that's just the base for everything this year.
It
was better than Argyle.
Argyle CGI. I just like the idea of them being chased in that skyscraper office building, watching all the monsters jump down. Honestly, if New York City goes into the apocalypse, what's the last establishment you're going to? L&B, Cat's Deli, and maybe John's Deli, or my like right off the top, off rip.
I'm just gonna put it out there. I've never been to Patsy's.
You never been to Patsy's
No,
in Harlem?
no.
Pretty good food.
Every New Yorker has their different idea of where the best pizza is. I'm gonna say it's L&B.
Yeah.
They could have come down here to Brooklyn. It's just me.
DeFar's. I've never been. You ever been to DeFar's?
to
$5
DeFar's.
slices. When the old man has passed away at this point, the guy used to be there cutting basil with a pair of scissors.
I'd give this movie 5 stars if they went to one pizzeria in particular.
Yeah.
Rocky and Nikki's.
Rocky and Nicky's for some beef.
The best beef patties in all of Brooklyn.
Agreed.
Not sponsored.
Not sponsored. No.
But we will take a beef patty sponsorship if you want to give it
It's
to
the
us.
only sponsorship. I will pay to have them sponsor us. I'll do the reverse sponsorship.
Final thoughts and ratings.
A Quiet Place Day 1 is not going to live up to the hype and expectations of the other ones. I really do think it's a hit or miss movie. I think it's a miss for me. I'm actually hoping that more people dislike this movie, and it's not that I ever aim to be on the outs or in the in. I just tell you what I think about the movie. That's my job here. And I'm very critical, I think. And for me, this movie fucking sucked.
So
Watch it.
eloquent.
Thank God for our actors and actresses doing a great job with what they had. I think the editing can use a lot of work. I think the pacing can use a lot of work. I always say less is more. It needed more of a lot of things, particularly the writing. I think things could have been imagined a little bit more, and they needed a couple more scenes to stitch it together. And I'm a guy who chops everything. That being said, I'm giving A Quiet Place Day 1 a 2.
Could it be the Across the Spider-Verse of 2024?
I hope it got it. I hope more people say this
We will
movie
find out.
Yeah.
I think this is a perfect mid-movie where it does enough to be okay. I think if you're a fan of the series, you'll be okay with it. I think if you're not a fan of the series and you've never seen any of them, you might think this is really good. The acting is really good. I think the story needs some work. The pacing needs some work. It is missing a lot of heart. At no point during this movie was it at a 3. And when she started eating the pizza like this...
The fucking pizza hold. Let me tell you something. Those two are fucking aliens. Those are insiders. They're in different skin. They're like camouflage. Who holds a pizza like that? Any slice of pizza. They're not New Yorkers. Actually, one guy was a New Yorker, so it makes sense. Maybe it's just some Brit who's out of his fucking mind.
But she's been going to New York pizzerias
She's
since
been
she was a
to
child.
A disrespectful pizza hold, let it be known, was very upset. I almost walked out at that point when I saw
Worse than de Blasio.
Worse than Blasio. Oh, I've seen that's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah. So for the pizza hold, I give it a 2 out of 5.
That being said, it's been another episode of Take 303. Thanks so much for watching. If you want to see more, follow us on YouTube, Take 303, and check us out at _media and Take.303 for all the reels, highlights, funny things, and the trailers, teasers for everything coming up. This week's poll question of the week, pretty simple. Which of the quiet places did you find the best? This week's question of the week is, should there be another quiet place? If so, tell us a little about the plot, what you would do. This has been Nick and JP. Catch you next time. Bye-bye.